Okay, welcome to the Explainer. Today we are finally diving in to definitively settle a long-standing debate in the aquarium hobby. We're answering the ultimate question: does garlic actually fight fish diseases, or does it just make your goldfish really hungry? Look, if you've spent any time at all keeping fish, you already know that garlic is basically treated like a magic potion by some keepers, while others completely dismiss it as pure snake oil. So we're cutting through the noise. We're going to look strictly at the data from recent, peer-reviewed scientific studies to find out exactly what happens when you add this everyday kitchen ingredient to a goldfish tank. So is garlic a myth or a medicine? For years, aquarists have fiercely argued over this. Now, it is absolutely true that garlic is a fantastic appetite enhancer. We all know it's invaluable when you're trying to get a stressed, newly acquired fish to start eating. But the debate usually stops right there. Skeptics have long considered the idea of garlic as an actual immune system booster to be totally unfounded. They wanted hard, factual data instead of just, regurgitated form advice.
Well, guess what? The science is finally catching up with the hobbyists. While the skeptics were demanding data, hobbyists who were feeding garlic-heavy diets were quietly reporting near-zero disease rates in their tanks. And recent scientific studies on goldfish and other species finally prove it. Garlic actively destroys pathogens like freshwater itch and marine white spot. It turns out it's not just an appetite stimulant at all. It is a highly capable biological weapon. And the secret to the whole thing lies in a very specific chemical. Which brings us to Section 1, allicin, the secret weapon. Recent research definitively proves that garlic acts as a potent immunostimulant for goldfish, and it is all thanks to allicin. Allicin is an organosulfur compound that makes up a massive chunk, we're talking 70 to 80%, of the total thiosulfonate in garlic. It's the main biochemically active component. It's literally the secret weapon that takes an ordinary kitchen ingredient and transforms it into a total antimicrobial powerhouse. But there's a catch here. Allicin isn't just sitting there ready to go in a whole intact clove of garlic. It actually has to be created through a specific physical reaction. You can't just drop a whole clove in the water and expect miracles. When garlic is physically damaged, like by crushing or slicing it, an enzymatic system ticks in and converts a compound called olein into the active allicin. Once this allicin gets into the fish's system, it goes to work physically destroying bacteria. It damages the structure of the bacterial cell wall, specifically targeting the sulfhydryl and disulfide groups on an amino acid called cysteine. And by attacking those specific groups, it completely shuts down the bacteria's enzyme synthesis, the metabolic processes just halt, the pathogen cannot replicate, and it dies. It's not simple. Moving on to Section 2, skin mucus, the first defense. This is where the science gets incredibly cool. Let's look at how allicin literally supercharges a goldfish's skin mucus, turning it into an impenetrable biological force field. We tend to just think of a fish's slime coat as, well, just slimy. But goldfish skin mucus isn't just a passive, slippery layer. It is an active suit of armor. It's absolutely packed with innate immune components. We are talking about lysozymes that break down bacteria, complement activity that triggers immune cascades, alkaline phosphase, which acts as an antimicrobial enzyme, and total immunoglobulins. Those are antibodies that trap and destroy opportunistic pathogens before they can even breach the fish's body. And the data from a recent 2021 study brilliantly illustrates exactly how this works. When researchers fed goldfish a diet supplemented with 15 milliliters per kilogram of garlic extract, they observed a massive, statistically significant spike in all of these force field components: alkaline phosphatase, lysozyme, complement activity, dissolved protein, and total immunoglobulins. They all surged. Basically, the sulfur compounds in the garlic, specifically to allicin, actively commanded the fish's immune cells to ramp up production and pump these protective elements directly into their skin mucus. All right, Section 3, fighting pathogens and parasites. So what actually happens when this newly supercharged mucus encounters dangerous, real-world aquarium bacteria? Well, researchers took the skin mucus from the goldfish fed the highest levels of garlic extract, and they put it in petri dishes right up against some notorious aquatic pathogens. We're talking bad news bacteria like Aeromonas hydrophila, Streptococcus ineae, Yersinia ruckeri, and Micrococcus luteus. The skin mucus exhibited incredible antimicrobial activity. It didn't just slow the bacteria down, it physically stopped their growth dead in its tracks. The resulting data reveals these highly specific, definitive growth inhibition zones created by the garlic-enhanced mucus. Think of it like a biological do not enter sign. The largest defense was actually seen against Aeromonas hydrophila, which is deadly and super common, measuring a massive 1.57 centimeter clear zone where the bacteria simply could not survive. It also created a 1.16 centimeter barrier against Streptococcus ineae.
So this definitively settles the debate. Garlic doesn't just make fish feel a little perkier, it actively and measurably kills aquatic disease. Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, optimal dosing for goldfish. Now that we know this whole miracle cure rumor is backed by actual molecular science, let's talk numbers. What are the optimal dosages? If your primary goal is to specifically maximize those skin mucus immune parameters to really boost that antibacterial force field we just discussed, researchers determined the optimal administration of garlic extract is 15 milliliters per kilogram of feed. At exactly that dosage, the antimicrobial activity of the skin mucus hit its absolute peak against all the tested pathogens. But check this out. Immunity isn't the only benefit here. A completely separate 2024 study, published in the Journal of the Hellenic Veterinary Medical Society, zoomed out to investigate the macro effects of garlic. They wanted to know how supplementing garlic powder directly impacted the physical growth, the feed conversion, and the overall survival rates of the goldfish over a much longer period. This study concluded that adding up to 20 grams per kilogram of garlic to their diet, which works out to roughly 2% of their total feed, resulted in the absolute best growth performance. Over an 84-day period, the goldfish receiving this 2% garlic diet showed the highest live weight increase, the absolute best specific growth rate, and highly efficient feed utilization when compared to the control groups. So the science is officially in, and it turns out the hobbyists on the forums were right all along. As we've seen throughout this explainer, a simple clove of freshly crushed garlic doesn't just make a goldfish hungry. It unleashes allicin, which physically destroys bacteria and supercharges the fish's biological skin mucus force field to completely obliterate nasty pathogens. It is a scientifically proven medicine, and honestly, it leaves you with a pretty fascinating thought. If this ordinary bulb of garlic can do all of this at a molecular level, what other incredible natural medicines might just be sitting in your kitchen pantry right now?